El Salvador's prisons are notorious. They are overcrowded and dangerous. The country has one of the highest incarceration rates globally. The prisons are a world unto themselves. They operate under their own set of rules. Within these walls, thousands of individuals live out their sentences. Their lives are shaped by confinement. They face an uncertain future. The prison system reflects the complex challenges facing El Salvador. These include poverty, gang violence, and social inequality. Life inside an El Salvadoran prison is highly structured. Days begin at dawn, with the first light of the sun barely touching the horizon. Prisoners wake up to the sound of clanging bars, a harsh reminder of their confinement. The metallic echoes signal the start of another day behind bars. They line up for roll call, standing in formation in the crowded prison yard. Each inmate is accounted for, ensuring no one is missing. Breakfast is a meager affair, often consisting of simple, unvaried food. The typical meal includes beans and tortillas, providing just enough sustenance to get through the morning. The tray, filled with beans and tortillas, is a stark representation of the limited resources available to the inmates. After breakfast, prisoners participate in various activities designed to occupy their time and provide some semblance of normalcy. These activities range from work assignments to educational programs. Some inmates engage in labor, contributing to the maintenance of the prison, while others attend classes to further their education. However, many simply idle away time in the overcrowded cells, finding ways to pass the hours. The afternoons mirror the mornings, with a similar structure and routine. Inmates continue with their assigned tasks or educational pursuits, maintaining a sense of order throughout the day. Lunch is another simple meal, followed by more activities or unstructured time. The routine is designed to keep the prisoners occupied and reduce the potential for unrest. Dinner is served before sundown, marking the end of the day's activities. The dimly lit dining area adds to the somber atmosphere of the prison. As the day draws to a close, prisoners retire to their cramped cells for the night. The cycle of routine and regimen continues day after day within the confines of the prison walls. Conditions within El Salvador's prisons are harsh. Overcrowding is a major problem. Cells designed for a few dozen inmates often house hundreds. Sanitation is poor, leading to the spread of disease. Access to basic necessities like clean water and medical care is limited. The physical environment takes a toll on the prisoners' physical and mental health. The lack of personal space and privacy breeds tension and despair. The oppressive atmosphere fosters a sense of hopelessness among the inmates. Overcrowding is arguably the biggest challenge facing El Salvador's prisons. It exacerbates existing problems. It puts a strain on resources. It heightens tensions among inmates. Overcrowding also has serious implications for the prisoners' well-being. It increases the risk of disease outbreaks. It limits access to essential services. It creates a volatile environment prone to violence. Section 5. Violence in the shadows. A constant threat. In the dark corners of El Salvador's prisons, a constant threat looms over the inmates and staff alike. Violence is a grim reality in El Salvador's prisons. Every day, altercations break out, often leading to severe injuries or even fatalities. Gangs exert significant control within the prison walls. They have established a parallel system of governance, where their word is law. They often rule through intimidation and brutality. Their tactics include beatings, threats, and even murder to maintain their dominance. Prison guards, often outnumbered and outmatched, struggle to maintain order. The sheer number of gang members compared to the guards makes it nearly impossible to enforce rules effectively. This leads to a climate of fear and uncertainty. The constant threat of violence creates an environment where no one feels safe. Prisoners live in a constant state of anxiety. They are always on edge, never knowing when the next violent incident will occur. They are vulnerable to extortion, assault, and even death. Gangs often demand money or favors, and those who cannot comply face dire consequences. The threat of violence permeates every aspect of prison life. It hinders rehabilitation efforts. In such a hostile environment, focusing on personal growth or education becomes nearly impossible. It perpetuates a cycle of brutality. The violence inside the prison walls often spills over into the outside world, affecting communities and perpetuating a cycle of crime and retribution. The need for comprehensive prison reform in El Salvador is more urgent than ever. Section 6. The search for redemption, rehabilitation programs, and their impact. Despite the challenges, some rehabilitation programs do exist within El Salvador's prison system. These programs aim to provide inmates with skills and support to reintegrate into society upon release. Programs include vocational training, educational courses, and psychological counseling. However, these programs are often underfunded and understaffed. This limits their reach and effectiveness. Many prisoners are left without access to these vital resources. Section 7. Barriers to reintegration, the challenges of life after prison. Even for those who do participate in rehabilitation programs, life after prison is fraught with challenges. The stigma of incarceration makes it difficult for former prisoners to find jobs and housing. They face discrimination from potential employers and landlords. This lack of opportunity often leads to recidivism, as ex-prisoners struggle to make ends meet and are drawn back into criminal activities. The cycle of incarceration and poverty continues, highlighting the need for more comprehensive reintegration support. Section 8. Human Rights in Confinement, a closer look. The situation in El Salvador's prisons raises serious human rights concerns. The severe overcrowding, poor sanitation, and lack of access to basic necessities violate fundamental human rights. The prevalence of violence and the limited access to rehabilitation programs further exacerbate the problem. International organizations have criticized El Salvador's prison conditions. They call for urgent reforms to address the inhumane treatment of prisoners. Section 9. A cry for reform, addressing the systemic issues. Addressing the crisis in El Salvador's prisons requires a multifaceted approach. Tackling overcrowding is paramount. This involves reducing the number of people entering the prison system in the first place. This can be achieved through sentencing reform, alternative sentencing options, and addressing the root causes of crime, such as poverty and lack of opportunity. Improving prison conditions is also crucial. This includes investing in infrastructure, sanitation, and healthcare. Section 10. Beyond the bars. The need for societal change. However, true reform extends beyond the prison walls. It requires a societal shift in attitudes towards incarceration and former prisoners. Breaking down the stigma associated with imprisonment is essential for successful reintegration. This involves creating opportunities for employment, education, and housing for ex-offenders. It also requires fostering a culture of empathy and understanding. Section 11. A call to action, hope for a brighter future. As the sun rises over the cityscape of El Salvador, it brings with it a new dawn of possibilities and aspirations. The promise of a brighter future is not just a distant dream but a tangible goal that can be achieved with collective effort and determination. El Salvador's prisons stand as a stark reminder of the complexities of crime and punishment. Overcrowded and often under-resourced, these facilities reflect the broader challenges faced by the nation. The conditions within these walls are a microcosm of societal issues that need urgent attention. They highlight the urgent need for reform, not just within the prison system, but also within society as a whole. The demonstrations by prisoners and the ongoing rehabilitation programs underscore the necessity for a holistic approach to justice. It's not enough to simply incarcerate. We must also educate, rehabilitate, and reintegrate. By addressing the root causes of crime, improving prison conditions, and providing opportunities for rehabilitation and reintegration, we can pave the way for meaningful change. Vocational training and educational activities within prisons are crucial steps in this direction. They equip inmates with the skills and knowledge needed to lead productive lives post-incarceration. El Salvador can break the cycle of incarceration and create a more just and equitable society for all its citizens. The sight of released inmates reuniting with their families is a powerful testament to the potential for transformation. Reintegration programs play a vital role in ensuring that former prisoners can successfully transition back into society. The path forward is clear, but the journey requires courage, compassion, and a collective commitment to change. Guards and prisoners working together, participating in group therapy sessions, and engaging in constructive activities are all part of this transformative process. It is a shared responsibility that calls for empathy, understanding, and unwavering dedication to building a better future for all.